When Iraqi troops began the operation to retake Mosul last month, it was America's F-22 Raptor jets that struck the first Islamic State targets there. But as American pilots keep flying missions abroad, there's been a quiet crisis brewing at home. Some of the Air Force's top generals tell VOA's Pentagon correspondent Carla Babb that if left unchecked, the crisis could degrade the Air Force's frontline capabilities the coming year.
The call for more combat air power around the world has been answered time and again by Air Force fighter pilots. Years of training and millions of dollars are invested in each pilot, who maneuver high-tech aircraft which have evolved into flying supercomputers. You might expect there'd be plenty of fighter pilots ready to fly fighter jets like the F-22 Raptors behind me, but that's actually not the case. The U.S. Air Force is authorized to have 3,500 fighter pilots, but they're 725 fighter pilots short.
Hey, good afternoon. Have a seat. Relax.
Major General Scott Vanderham
So these are all the projects.
and Lieutenant General John Cooper are in charge of managing manpower for pilots and maintenance crew. They sat down together for the first time exclusively with VOA to discuss the growing crisis. How deep can this hole be dug before it has to be pulled out of, and you can't get creative anymore, and you just need more?
I'd say we're there. We have no margin, and that's what you're kind of speaking to. We have too few squadrons to meet the combatant commander's need.
The recent drawdown came about because of budget decreases, as the U.S. left Iraq in 2010 and was expected to leave Afghanistan.
The big variable is tempo. We didn't plan for ISIS. We planned to come home.
164 Bravo 7.
At Joint Base Langley Eustis, pilots say longer and more frequent deployments have devastated morale.
We were on 45-day rotations. Then they made it 90-day rotations. Then they made 120-day rotations. Now it's 6-month rotations with 1-year rotations sprinkled on top of it for key positions.
The deployments aren't the only thing causing pilots to quit. While stationed at home, pilots often have to work extra hours to finish administrative tasks, in addition to maintaining their flying skills.
I have a very high demand signal for my pilots, and I have not quite enough of them. This is where all the pucks start right here, and we start putting them on the board. So everybody here is doing something. There's no slop.
The Air Force is training about 135 more pilots in this fiscal year than 2 years ago, but that effort appears to have been undercut, since it only retained about 40% of fighter pilots up for contract renewals in 2016. It's almost a crisis within a crisis.
It is, because we need to retain, Carla, about 65%, about 2/3 of those pilots to fill the slots that they need to fill.
The fighter pilot shortage has spiked at a time when commercial airlines, which offer more stable schedules at home and the potential for higher pay, are looking for more pilots who love to fly.
If it's up to just me, I definitely would stay in, but my family has a vote, and so if they're doing well and they're enjoying where we're at, then we'll stay. If they want me to leave to do something else, then that's probably what I'll end up doing.
Former fighter pilot Tom Hunt left the Air Force in 2013 and now earns more money as a Washington, D.C. lawyer. He says the Air Force could resolve the shortage if it wanted to.
Some people say you can't throw money at everything. You can. You absolutely can. If you said the pilot bonus is now $500,000, single lump sum payment, guaranteed you'll solve your pilot shortage.
The Air Force is asking Congress for money to raise the bonus up to $48,000 per year, the first such bonus increase since 1999. The Pentagon hopes it will be enough to retain experienced pilots needed to keep up the Air Force's fast-paced operations and train the new recruits. For now, the generals say they are still able to carry out all the fighter jet sorties or flights needed on the front lines abroad. But if the efforts to resolve the fighter pilot crisis fail, they will quickly lose that ability.
We're looking at it right now, and we may have to, within the next calendar year, start to take some degradations in the frontline squadrons.
Those degradations mean the Air Force wouldn't be able to deploy its pilots as quickly, which brings the risk for more conflict casualties. And even if the Air Force does everything possible to increase fighter pilot numbers, the solution is more than a decade away.